Forgiveness after infidelity is intrinsically associated with attributions of blame. Failing to attribute responsibility in the case of infidelity raises the likelihood of forgiveness. However, high levels of blame attribution and perceived intent kind of complicate the whole forgiveness thing after cheating. There are various conceptualizations of forgiveness after infidelity, with all of them boiling down to changes from negative emotional states towards the perpetrator to compassionate and altruistic states. The changes in cognitive states manifest in behavioral changes towards the perpetrator. These behavioral changes do not minimize the impact of infidelity on the relationship, but offer a clean slate to rebuild the relationship from scratch. The transgression-related interpersonal motivations, TRIMs, model documents some of the strategies used by victims of relationship infidelity to terminate or sustain a relationship. Some of these strategies include avoiding the cheater, getting revenge, or expressing benevolence. Avoiding the cheater and getting revenge come from the negative feelings experienced after cheating, while benevolence signify a shift from the negative emotions by expressing warmth and intent to fix the relationship. The motivations of revenge, avoidance, and benevolence determine whether an individual is willing to forgive their partner after infidelity or not. Taken together, perceiving the perpetrator of infidelity as blameworthy and intentional results in more avoidance and blame motivations, and less benevolence. Examining blame as it pertains to predicting revenge, avoidance, and benevolence, explains why attribution predicts the termination of a relationship. Women report more severe reactions to infidelity, and they also report greater likelihoods of forgiving a cheating partner. A possible reason for this paradox revolves around the fact that women are more invested in relationships emotionally compared to men, a phenomenon that opens them to being hurt the most, but also most likely to forgive. Some studies report that sex differences in the negative emotions associated with cheating, especially jealousy and anger, are more a reflection of conditional probability that one type of infidelity leads to another as opposed to evolved psychological differences. In simple terms, some people have difficulty separating emotional and sexual infidelity. On the one hand, if a man sleeps with a woman, what is the probability that he has or will develop feelings for her? On the other hand, if a woman sleeps with a man, what is the probability that she has developed or will develop feelings for him? Men and women vary in their responses to cheating because of variations in reproductive concerns. On the one hand, women are more concerned about emotional infidelity because of the fear of losing the childbearing support that is offered by their partner. On the other hand, men are upset with sexual infidelity because of the fear of having to channel resources towards raising a child that's not their own, whether unknowingly in the case of a spouse keeping the affair private or knowingly when they choose to keep the relationship even after finding out. The fear of raising another man's child explains why men are more likely to forgive women who are involved in same-sex infidelity compared to different-sex infidelity. For the record, women are more likely to forgive men involved in different sex compared to same-sex infidelity. People invest a lot in attracting partners and keeping them. As such, it is therefore common for partners who have been in long-term relationships to have allocated more resources into keeping it. These individuals have therefore more to lose when they get cheated on, as compared to those who are in the early stages of their relationships. The paradox in the case of the length of the relationship is that, it makes more sense to forgive infidelity in the case of a long-term relationship because of the resources that have been invested compared to a short-term relationship. The general rule: people are more upset with cheating in the context of a long-term compared to a short-term relationship, mostly due to the kind of investment that has already gone into the relationship. However, some studies suggest that the seriousness of relationships does not influence the likelihood of being forgiven. Basically, cheating is considered cheating, whether in a long-term or short-term relationship. The reason for similar emotions in the case of cheating in long-term and short-term relationships is based on the fact that the victim tends to assess their partner's ability to remain committed in case of forgiveness. Besides, people who forgive cheating partners still receive the resources they used to receive in the relationship, and their investment in the same is worthwhile. Sustaining a relationship even after infidelity is especially important when children are involved since they get the benefits of investment from both parents. The association between the length of relationships and the likelihood of forgiveness brings in the age factor, with older adults being more likely to forgive compared to younger adults. A common explanation for older adults reporting greater willingness to forgive cheating partners, apart from their investment in romantic relationships, encompasses the difficulty of attracting desirable partners as individuals age, thereby making them more reluctant to terminate existing relationships. Those who stay in relationships, even after infidelity, get to invest whatever resources they have in their disposal in the current relationship instead of looking for new partners. Worth pointing out is the fact that even if a partner has the resources and ability to attract a new partner after terminating a relationship, they may not attract a mate of similar value as the one they left. Thus, forgiving in the case of a cheating partner ensures that the victim doesn't end up single or with a partner of inferior value. In simple terms, age could just be a proxy for the amount of investment that people have put into relationships, as well as the ability to attract desirable mates. People who have experienced infidelity in past relationships react differently to the same in current ones. On the one hand, experiences of infidelity indicate to a person that cheating is a real threat, leading to more intense reactions to avoid being cheated on in current relationships. On the other hand, experiences of infidelity could in fact open people up to holding more receptive attitudes by viewing it as common, thereby resulting in less severe reactions. Older people who have been cheated on before are more likely to forgive infidelity in their current relationships, compared to younger individuals who don't have such past experience. A highlight for why people who have been cheated on in the past being more likely to forgive revolves around the fact that they're more likely to consider infidelity as common, thereby being more likely to forgive their partners. Another possibility is that they could possess traits associated with forgiveness, such as being agreeable, which their partners could detect and subsequently exploit. It is important to acknowledge the fact that some of the costs of forgiving a cheating partner revolve around the risk of cheating in future. Once a cheater, always a cheater. There's the risk of those forgiven for infidelity perceiving their partners as tolerant to their unfaithfulness, thereby becoming even less faithful, banking on the higher likelihood of being forgiven. There's also the cost of a person who perceives cheating as normal after being cheated on enough number of times ending up becoming a cheat. Additional costs include sexually transmitted diseases, the risk of cuckoldry, and the risk of abandonment if the other partner is of higher value than the current one. For the record, women report greater emotional upsets and jealousy than men, but they also report greater likelihood of forgiving a partner who has cheated. The principal behaviors involved in infidelity include dating or spending time with someone, having sexual relations with someone other than the primary partner, and engaging in basic sexual contact, such as kissing. A higher percentage of men are involved in physical acts of infidelity, while women are more involved with their secondary partners emotionally. More severe acts of infidelity are associated with greater emotional upsets, higher levels of jealousy, and reduced likelihood of forgiveness. This severity is characterized by prolonged emotional or sexual infidelity, with less severity being characterized by acts such as visiting a strip club or a pornography site, and causes less emotional upsets. Men and women express similar feelings in circumstances where their partners have feelings for or had sex with someone else. All in all, sexual infidelity is associated with more negative emotions and a reduced likelihood of being forgiven compared to emotional infidelity. The main reason for sexual infidelity being associated with more negative consequences is the possibility of a pregnancy, and what that subsequently does to both men and women, especially in the context of diverting resources. For the man, sexual infidelity resulting in pregnancy means they might be cuckolded and forced to divert resources towards raising another man's baby, which is not desirable. For a woman, sexual infidelity resulting in pregnancy means that resources are diverted from the main to the side woman and her children. The likelihood of being forgiven following infidelity is therefore associated with the level of complexity and connection a partner has with the one they had an extramarital affair with. For instance, people are more likely to be forgiven for cheating if they utilize prostitution services, visit a nightclub, or have a one-night stand. Being aware of what raises the likelihood of being forgiven presents cheaters with an opportunity to manipulate their partners by employing tactics that raise the probability of being forgiven. For instance, a cheating partner could present their affair as a one-night stand to reduce the likelihood or severity of negative reaction. Obviously, infidelity has a lot of negative consequences, including a rise in the need to terminate a relationship, the fear of abandonment, damaged confidence and self-esteem, loss of trust, rage, jealousy, stress, damage to other relationships, especially children, legal issues, job losses, and unnecessary treatment costs that could be avoided with faithfulness. 25% of those who cheat, as well as 60% of those who are cheated on, report experiencing these negative feelings once they're cheated on. Some studies suggest that for a small percentage of couples, infidelity is actually good for the primary relationship. Some of the unintended outcomes of infidelity include realizing the importance of proper marital communication, placing higher value on the family, increased assertiveness in the primary relationship, being open with a partner, especially on the reasons that led to existing cases of infidelity and how future risks could be contained, and closer marital relationships. Couples who go into therapy after infidelity positively change compared to those who do not.